driver and I need petrol. So you give me these three things and I will be easily able to go from this point to this point. Drive straight. So the body becomes my car, the mind becomes my driver, and the number of breaths that I have becomes my fuel. Death is not a fixed destined event, but the number of breaths that you come with is. So how you utilize those breaths will determine how long you will live. And which is why you see all those dudes who disappear into the Himalayas in those cold places and spend years doing tapasya in candle breathing, heartbeat slows down to 30 and 40 beats per minute, land up living 100, 120, 140 years. You will never get somebody in a stress living situation in a city living till the age of 120. Because obviously with stress your brain starts moving much quicker and you shorten your lifespan. So I have these three things: car, petrol and driver, body, mind and breaths. Now I start driving the car. Ideally, I should be looking only straight here because this is my purpose. But then the guy who created this game called life was one ingenious dude. Okay. So to make the game interesting, he also threw in a joker called free will or choice. And it is truly a joker. So, though I have come with a plan to drive my car straight ahead, nothing can stop me, thanks to my free will, from looking okay, this is my choice. Now what happens? The moment I start looking here and there, and when I look there, I see Nirja sitting. Now Nirja is not on my purpose. Okay, my purpose is straight. But the moment I see her, now pretty woman. Pretty woman says hi. Now Sada male. Pretty woman saying hi. The first thing I say is, अरे यार इनकी तो मदद करनी चाहिए यार, बड़ी अबला नारी है, अबला तो नहीं है, कहीं से भी नहीं है, अगर आप इनसे मिलेंगे तो पता चलेगा. But all said and done, the illusion that she needs me, she needs help. So with my free will, I take my car off my route. Now what happens when my car goes off the route? Petrol is going down. Because petrol is not aware which road you are driving the car on. Even worse, I stop the car here, I keep the air condition going because I want to impress her. Fuel efficiency की बात लग गई extra. Okay. And then by the time I resolve whatever she wants me to resolve, I now am truly believing that the sole purpose of my incarnation on earth is to help women who are in trouble. I found a newfound purpose of life. Our so-called purposes that we keep finding every day. And because I am enjoying that purpose, now the car takes a deviation, goes to Ruchita. And I am helping her out and I am beginning to enjoy this now. And karte, I go to Simran and Simi and Shinu, and before I know it, petrol is over. Now tell me, if your car was stuck in a jungle, very far from the highway of your life, and you were in a space where your petrol was over, what will you do?
Go to the pump and get some more petrol.
You have no choice, but number one, you have to leave the car in the jungle. You can't carry it like Ganpati Bappa Moria on your head and take it up. So you got to leave the car back. The driver has to take the jerry can and go back to the source, to some petrol pump to get fuel. The driver is your mind. So the moment your car has run out of petrol, wherever it is off your target, you have to leave the body behind, which is your basic vehicle. Your driver, which is your mind, now needs to go to the universal gas refueling station, which is up there, and says, Bhaiya ji, thoda petrol mil jayega. Now, Bhaiya ji up there is a brutal cost accountant. Okay? Because he's keeping track of everything. Every single breath that you used is being mapped. So once you go up to collect petrol, he says, Arey Bhaiya, but तुम तो प्लान करके गया था ना कि 40 लीटर में तुम तुम्हारा हिसाब करके आएगा. What happened? Now from up there, I am able to look down and see that, hey Baba, my route actually was to go from here to here. This was my original plan. And thanks to my free will, I have created this beautiful diversion, which is very beautiful but highly illusionary. Okay? Okay. Why can't I see this diversion when I am in the car? Simply because what I expose my subconscious mind to has a habit of developing into a pattern. And then the mind works overtime to keep duplicating the same pattern over and over and over again. Which is why when we are in it, we can't see it. You know, as Einstein says, you can never solve a problem at the level at which you create it. To be able to solve it, you need to either go above or below it. Okay? But you can't sort it out at the same level. Which is why death becomes such a necessary tool. Because it allows my mind, which is otherwise stuck to gravity, to break free, watch my pattern, and then understand, oh, so what I was actually supposed to do was this, and this is where I have now ended. Now dude says, okay, but now you will need some more petrol because your car is off track. I said, हाँ यार दे दो. Nothing is free in this world. Even up there, nothing is free. So he says, okay, if you are taking more petrol, bhai हर्जाना भरना पड़ेगा. Straight. Start of karma. Okay. So all karma in life starts from willful deviation from life pattern based on free will. If your life is moving on your life path, you are not generating any karma, because otherwise you will never be able to come out of this game. No chance. But the moment you willfully deviate from your path, now you are creating a reality because you are God. And you go to unwind that reality, for which you pay a price, which you probably call as karma or whatever is your understanding of it. And now I come back with some more petrol, unwind where I last left my body, karmic charge, karmic charge, karmic charge, karmic charge, finish karma, and then come back to my original path. And of course, I must hope and pray that my memory stays with me and I don't create a fresh loop when I'm picking up my car and coming back. This is how we've been living for the longest period of time. Okay? So across centuries of life and death, we've been going through this cycle, this drama of having an objective, doing something else, then creating a new learning, and then going off target, and then we say, "Acha, we bhagya mein ye likha hai, wo likha hai." But essentially, we are the ones who are writing that bhagya out. There is no Hitler up there sitting with a machine gun saying, "Khol pant sale marta." Sale drama is our own drama. This is what has been happening for many, many thousands of years. And when we talk of the shift, we are essentially talking this system going through a change. Now obviously, we've been with the existing system for thousands of years. And as we all know, change by its very essence, though it is the only constant in life, is the most scary thing to embrace. Okay? And which is why it is also not surprising that in the world at the moment, the moment you talk about the shift, 7 out of 10 people are petrified rather than overjoyed at the prospect of the system changing. Because all change obviously is unknown, and whatever is unknown, we have a tendency to believe it will be bad. That's how we've been. So one of the reasons why I was actually very happy when Vikram suggested this topic and the club got together to put this thing on earth is because I am going to probably try and focus on, well, I can't educate you because nobody can educate anybody, but maybe share a few thoughts on how and why this change can be a very fantastic change in your life, and a change that is so powerful that it's not funny. But that everything that you thought could happen only in heaven is perfectly possible for you to actually start living on an ongoing basis on earth. So the shift can be very powerful from a completely different angle if you have an open mind to it. And which is why I was really very, very happy when they took the initiative to hold this topic and let me talk about it. So we are looking at the system changing. Now, somebody in the audience spoke about the fact that the shift involves ascension or ascending. The term ascension, the word ascension, comes from the verb to ascend. And in the English dictionary, to ascend means to rise. Okay. This word got added to the English dictionary after the era of Jesus Christ. Everybody here is familiar with Jesus Christ? Okay. When you think of Jesus Christ, what do you think was the most noteworthy feature of his life? When you think of whatever you know of Jesus, what was outstanding about his life?
Resurrection.
Resurrection. Basically the fact that on one particular day, he got nailed to the cross.
Resurrection.
Okay, that means his physical body went kaput. And 3 days later, he appeared once again and took the body and went. That means the physical body disappeared from the planet. Everybody is aware of this particular part of the story. So the term ascension in that context then implies the ability to be able to move from one dimension of existence to another with your physical body, which is a big shift from the model that we've been following for thousands of years. Because what we have predominantly done is when we have died, we have kept this body here. And whenever you leave your body on earth, you have a karmic connection with the planet, which means you will have to come back. Because every impression that you are leaving on the tattvas, your body has 5 tattvas, right? Now through whatever thoughts, emotions and feelings you live your life, you are casting an impression on the tattva. It's not disappearing. And when you leave your body on earth, those impressions go back into the elements. So you will have to come back. You will have to come back to reclaim that. Which is why Buddha died out of food poisoning. Body is on earth. Krishna died with the arrow in the foot. Body is on earth. Okay? Let's look at examples of people who've been able to take the body and go. So you have Mirabai. The body disappeared. You have Kabir. The body